what I have here is my video, and I'm going to be talking about the Quebec sovereignty movement. First, let's talk about the Canadian child's point of view. The 4 point of views that I have is Mom's point of view, Pauline Marois' point of view, and Philippe Couillard's point of view. The Canadian child is supporting the Quebec sovereignty movement. He wants Quebec to separate from Canada, as he said in the interview that Quebec might feel a little bit lonely because they are the only province that has a French-speaking background. He talks about how Quebec will feel excluded and left out regarding the fact that they are the only province that has a majority of French-speaking citizens. In the bubble on the left is an interview with the Canadian citizen. And I'll be playing the interview. Jay, do you support or not support the Quebec sovereignty movement?
Well, I support it. In my opinion, the Quebec are sort of feeling lonely because in Canada they're the only province that has a French culture as their background. Like here in Canada, in Ontario, you don't see everyone talking in French. We still do learn French, but we mostly speak English. So Quebec might feel a little excluded and out of Canada.
Is there any reasons?
Well, not really.
That was a really good reason to pick for interview.
And now let's look at the mom's point of view. She does not support the Quebec sovereignty movement. She wants Quebec to stay with Canada, as she thinks that Quebec is a very important part of Canada because they bring many tourists and it would increase the tax if they left, as it says in the report below. As she looked at Pauline Marois' article, she thought, why shouldn't Quebec just stay with Canada and keep their heritage safe? Below is her report, and here's her report. I'll be reading it. I think that Quebec shouldn't separate from Canada because they are a very important part of our society. We should keep them in Canada, but we should give them a little more freedom. As Pauline Marois said, they would feel more protected by separating. Why not feel protected by staying in Canada? There isn't any difference. Speak up, then Canada will give you the rights. Now, let's go down to the Quebec side, and let's go to Pauline Marois. She wants Quebec to separate from Canada, as she thought if Quebec were to have been its own country, her culture and language wasn't as well recognized as English throughout Canada when they were staying together. That is why she thought that it would be well used and kept safe if they separated from the rest of Canada. Below is the biography through which I got my information. And I'll be taking you to the biography. And now I'll be taking you back to my Prezi. Now let's go up to Philippe Couillard. He's against the Quebec sovereignty movement. He wants Quebec to stay with Canada because he thinks that the Party Quebecers have been tricking all the citizens of Canada and is saying that they never achieved the goal that they said they would achieve, which is to separate Quebec from Canada. He states in his news report, the Party Quebecers have for years kept Quebecers in a fantasy world of illusion that has nothing to do with reality. I'm turning down the curtain. We're done with illusions and an imaginary world. I'll be taking you to the news report. This is where I got all my information from. And right here it states the party Quebecers for years have kept Quebecers in a fantasy world, a world of illusion that has nothing to do with reality.
Congratulations!
I'm tearing down the curtain. We're done with illusions and an imaginary world. Now let's go back to the present. Now I have my point of view on all of their points of view. I agree with Philip's point of view because he is completely correct on how PQ is just keeping the Quebecers in a fantasy world and telling them a lie because it's been a long time since they said that Quebec will be its own country, but not much has happened. Philippe has a very strong and smart point of view and justification on why he doesn't support the Quebec sovereignty movement. Let's go down to Pauline Marois' point of view. I don't agree with Pauline's point of view because when she talks about how the Quebec culture doesn't get respected in Canada, I think about how the French culture has so many assemblies in Canada and big days to celebrate the French culture in Canada. They have many festivals about the Quebec culture as well. So now I'm going to be scrolling over to the mom's point of view. I agree with my mom's point of view because her point of view on how Quebec should just stay with Canada and just speak up a little more to the Premier. They want French to be more recognized through Canada. For example, they could just protest in front of the Parliament on what they want to do. Right now, they aren't too quiet and aren't speaking up enough. Now I'm going to be showing my point of view for the Canadian child. I don't agree with the Canadian citizens' point of view. The Canadian child's point of view because I don't know how Quebec citizens would feel lonely as they are accepted onto the Canadian Olympic team as normal English-speaking Canadians. Also, the Quebecers are given normal jobs and even own big businesses in Canada. And these big businesses are like BMO. And thank you for watching.